Happy Wednesday! Welcome to channel Slevin Views. Your one and only Slevin is here. We are discussing Quiet on Set. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time this video reaches you. I want to talk about Quiet on a Set today. Just a couple of thoughts that kind of ran through my mind as I was watching these episodes, this documentary. It's a documentary that came out on, I think Max. I don't know if it came out on a physical channel, but I know it was on Max, and I ended up, I guess engulfing. And here's my take. When it comes to Quiet on Set and all the revelations that we got from it, I would like to say that too many things went wrong. There were too many things that were not corrected from the jump that should have been, and it just went completely wrong. First, we have one, Dan Schneider. Second, Jason Handy. We'll get on him. Third, normalizing no parental supervision, normalizing child labor laws, and also, last but not least, making the environment unsafe and unfit for children. So let's begin with Dan Schneider. With Dan Schneider, they discuss, his past in the beginning. His parents were somewhat of a prestigious family. His father is a Harvard graduate, and when they started speaking more and more about Dan Schneider's behaviors and what he's done, it gave that he probably was mentally abused, and he's basically, once he got the power that he desired or the power that he needed to dish out what was given to him, he used he used it to his advantage. He used it to his full advantage. Dan Schneider was a producer on Nickelodeon. He was a creator of All That. He was the creator of The Amanda Show. He was the creator, I think, of Drake and Josh. I could be wrong. In some weird Truth or Dare type of show where they did really weird, it was like Fear Factor for kids. So they were discussing Dan Schneider, these two women writers and one male, I don't know, I think he was an executive producer or something along those lines, where he was producing. He was helping Dan Schneider produce. But three people that worked on set with Dan Schneider kind of came forward. And what bothers me the most is that they took 17 years roughly to come forward with this information. When I start my rant, I want you to understand that I am in no shape or form victim blaming anyone. I'm not victim blaming anyone. I'm not, I've only kind of put myself in people's shoes from the outside looking in. And I've done a little bit of research. So let's go. Dan Schneider, he discriminated against these two women writers. He made them feel very uncomfortable. He had them do weird things, sexual things, not to him, but he had supposedly made one of the female writers explain a story and acted like she was being sodomized while she was explaining the story. He would send out messages, email messages, and he would have them yell out I'm stupid, I'm dumb, and then I'm a slut. It just gave a bunch of high school students made you do these type of things in the lunchroom or something. It's he was bullied, and now he's going to be bullying people. That's what it gave. I need you guys to get out of here. I need you guys to get it. Okay, sit. I'm sorry. So so that's what it gave. It gave that Dan Schneider was a bully. He was a recovering. He used to be bullied when he was a little kid, when he was in high school, and now whatever he got, whatever was dished at him, he's dishing back out. Hurt people always tend to hurt people, and he was hurt. He was just like this little fat boy in an adult's body that obtained power because of the shows and the roles that he was placed in with Nickelodeon, and Nickelodeon just allowed him to become this baby tyrant, you know, and it was horrible, you know. So when I look into the rights of the writers, you know, when it comes to, you know, being harassed at work, being basically bullied, you know, sexual conduct, like sexual harassment, basically, you know, just being inappropriate. These writers were a part of the Writers Guild, which was established from like 1933 when I looked it up. And when I called the Writers Guild and I asked them, you know, these questions, I asked them, well, if a writer was to report to you guys, the writer, first I asked them, is the Writers Guild a union? They said yes. If a writer was to report to you guys that a producer is being inappropriate or, you know, being unfairly treated or being discriminated against or just making you feel uncomfortable, do they have the right to report this to the Writers Guild? Yes. And will they be protected by the Writers Guild? Yes. So I really had a very hard time understanding why so many people were afraid of Dan Schneider, because yes, he was a prestigious member of the studios in Nickelodeon, but he didn't control all of Hollywood, you know. So whatever threats or whatever it is that he dashed out, they were not valid. They weren't valid. So I'm having a very hard time trying to understand what was this fear that they had of Dan Schneider, knowing that you are part of a union, use your resource. You can report this. You didn't have to take this. Like, I'm sorry, you know, you didn't have to take that. You didn't have to work with this producer. You could have taken your talents elsewhere. There are plenty of kids network. There was Disney. There's, you know, the WB. There's, you know, at the time now it's CW, but there was CBS. You know, even Fox 5 had like children's stuff on the weekends. So I just couldn't grasp as to why they dealt with that toxicity for so long. My second point would be Jason Handy. So this story starts off with the mom discussing her daughter. Her daughter's name is Brandy, and Brandy was like in love with Nickelodeon. You know, she just loved Nickelodeon. Her daughter loved Nickelodeon. She idolized Nickelodeon, and so she got casted for the Amanda Show as a she got casted on the Amanda Show as an extra. Brandy got casted on the Amanda Show as an extra, right? And when Brandy's mom took her to the Nickelodeon set, this is where Jason Handy comes in. Jason Handy, I think, is a producer's assistant or production assistant who will escort the children from their parents to the set. That's another red flag for me. Why are the parents not allowed on set? Why can I not escort my daughter to the set? Why can I not watch what my kid is doing? I just didn't understand that. Like, who normalized this? Who okayed this? Who started? Like, how did this become normal? There was no parental supervision. And so after Brandy finished with her, you know, after Brandy finished with filming, you know, Jason Handy supposedly like exchanged information with her. But he not only exchanged information with her, he exchanged information with other children and supposedly their parents. throughout the days, I guess, Brandy and Jason were in contact with each other, emailing each other and stuff like that. And, you know, Brandy would tell her mom, yeah, Jason is working on this show, he's doing this and he's doing that. Until one day, Jason had emailed her an inappropriate picture. It was a picture with him basically relieving himself, and so Jason Handy had emailed the young lady Brandy a picture of him basically relieving himself, and then saying he was thinking about her. And Brandy was really upset from this. She felt really uncomfortable. She shut her computer down and she just ran to her room, and her mom peeped game. And so when her mom discussed what happened with Brandy, she saw that, you know, what Jason had sent her. This mother dropped the ball because she was struggling with going forward and reporting this man to the authorities. There is no struggle when it comes to someone violating your child. It's either you call the authorities or you handle it yourself. I mean, that's just my opinion. It was not computing in my brain as to why these parents weren't like militant about their children. So Brandy's mom never reported Jason Handy, only to get a phone call in 2003 because a parent had reported Jason for being inappropriate with their daughter. And when they searched his home, they saw that he had a plethora of children performing adult acts, inappropriate acts, and children in compromising positions. And then they found that he had, you know, a treasure trove of Ziploc bags with girls' names on it and like whatever memorabilia from that child, like whether it be a headband, some were panties, some were like head ties, a shirt, I don't know. But he had, and one of the Ziplocs was Brandy's name. And that's how they contacted Brandy's mom. So regardless, somebody had the courage to do what Brandy's mom didn't do. I'm so disappointed in all of the actions that weren't taken. I'm very disappointed. I'm disappointed on Nickelodeon for allowing a baby tyrant to evolve in their company. I'm disappointed for them to enable Dan Schneider to allow these kids violate child labor laws. The children felt unsafe on this set. They couldn't speak up. They were put in damn near inappropriate positions, especially when it came to that Dare show. They felt so uncomfortable in that show. So many kids they're adults now, but so many of them came forward saying how uncomfortable it was to be on that show. And because they felt like they had to do it to be on Dan's good side, they did it. It was just very disappointing. It's disappointing that it was normalized for the parents not to be on set, or not to escort their children back on set, or there were no parental guidance, barely on set. And the kicker of it all was there was a Geppetto working there the whole time. There was a Geppetto working there. You don't know what kind of situations he could have gotten himself into on the set with those kids not being supervised by their parents. It's so disappointing. And to mention the women writers again, because like I said, I'm coming from a place where I'm looking from the outside in, but I'm also a woman and I'm a parent as well. But first thing, I was born a female. I'm a woman. So it's like, I just can't stand for someone being disrespected, and for the men writers to sit there and allow this to happen in front of you guys. I'm pretty sure you men were married. Would you want your wife to be put in a compromising situations like these women writers were? Would you want your wife's boss to treat them the way this man was treating your coworker? It was so unfortunate to see people just sit by and allow this to happen, for the women writers not to stand up until they reached their boiling point and they weren't even working there anymore. It was just very disappointing. It's very disappointing. And I really hope that this doesn't happen again, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Like, use your resources. I understand money is needed, but you don't need to get money from there. There's plenty of other places that you can get money from, plenty of other networks that you can work with to be a writer in. It's like, don't ever settle for any type of BS along those lines. You know, this is, like I said in the beginning of this episode, too many things went wrong. It was a melting pot of wrong. A melting pot. Shame on Nickelodeon. Shame on Dan Schneider. And shame on Jason Handy. Shame on all of those people involved in traumatizing these children, traumatizing these women and parents. Shame. I'm going to end it here. I want to do a second part of Quiet on Set. We're going to be discussing Pickle Boy. And if you guys watched Quiet on Set, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have. You guys know who I'm talking about when I say the name Pickle Boy. Until next time, I'll see you later. Have a good day. Bye.